But then when was it 2 solutions? That didn't look right. It's supposed to be 1 L or 2 L's for equaled. Thank you. So when the absolute value of the distance equaled what kind of number? Gave us 2 solutions. I heard someone say it. Positive, right? 0, negative, positive. Right? It's good to note these things. It'll help save you some headache. Final piece of reflection before we get into the inequalities. When can you split absolute value equations up into 2 equations without the absolute value? When were we able to finally split it up? Was I able to split it up right here into 2 equations?
Yeah.
What did we do first? We added 8, then we split it up. What has to be true for when we finally do split it up? Remember, we went ahead and split it here. But over here with number 1, we had to subtract 5 first. Say again.
When you have 2 variables,
Not necessarily. Let's look at this. I can hear someone saying something. Hold on one second. Who was saying what? Okay, for this one, I have 2 inside the absolute value, right? First thing I'm going to do is subtract 3. Notice that's a modified number 3. Now I'm going to split it up. Why was it not until here that I finally split the absolute value equation up? The absolute value is by itself. We need to recognize that. Remember, what can be positive or negative? Right. You need the absolute value on its own, because what is on the inside can be positive or negative. What is on the inside can be positive or negative, not the outside stuff. So use your inverses to get rid of the outside stuff. Please note, it's not the solution stuff on the front that is going to help you study for the test. It is the notes, the explanation of why this works, that you need to study for the test. This is the concepts, and then you might want to practice some as well. These concepts are what are important. We got to start on this absolute value stuff. If you want to ask questions about inequalities, I'll make sure we have some time for that tomorrow as part of the review. So, go ahead and go to 2.1 on the calculators. So using what you learned about absolute value equations from 1.1 to 1.4, find some solutions. The absolute value inequality, absolute value of x minus 3 is less than or equal to 4, right? Decimals and fractions are great options. We're going to go over this together, and you can mark these points on the next page. And so go ahead and go to 2.2, but let's talk about this. What do you think that this is saying, right? If I had said x minus, absolute value of x minus 3 is equal to 4, what is that saying? Here's someone saying something small over here. Okay, what is an absolute value? It is a distance. What is my distance in this case? 4, right? Notice the absolute value is on its own, so the distance is 4 units away from what? In this case, remember, positive 3, right? It's x minus h is equal to d. So it's 3 units away from, or it's 4 units away from 3, which that would be -1 and 7, right? Because x minus 3 can equal a positive 4. That's where I'm getting the 7. X minus 3 could equal a negative 4. And that's where I'm getting the -1. Alright? So how is that different when I say x minus, absolute value of x minus 3 needs to be less than or equal to 4? What does that mean? What? So if the absolute value of x minus 3 equals 4 is indicating every point that is 4 units away from 3. What does this say?
Greater than
Is it greater than or equal to? It's less than or equal to. What's less than or equal to? The, say it again? The distance, right? I want every point that is less than or equal to 4 units away from 3. So go to the next slide, or the next page on yours, where you can see some points, or see a number line. What is a number that is less than 4 units away from 3? What number? -1. Okay, that's exactly equal to, so you could put a point at -1 comma 0. Or if you're just on a number line, that point right there, that's actually exactly equal to 4 units away from -3. Are there any other points that are less than or equal to 4 units away from -1? 0. Is that less than or equal to 4 units away? Any other numbers? 1. Any more? 2. Any more? 3. That's 0 units away, yeah? What's the biggest number that would be 4 units or less away from 3? 7. Can we do anything bigger than 7? No. Right? Notice the 7 and the -1, those are the endpoints. If you remember, what I suggested with solving an inequality is instead of solving the inequality, solve the what first? Instead of solving the inequality all the way through, solve what first?
First 2 steps.
The equation. Remember how I told y'all, instead of solving the inequality, solve it as an equation first. Absolute value of x minus 3 equals 4. Okay, I did that. Now I want to know all the numbers that make the inequality what?
True.
True. So I've got -1 and I've got 7. Those are known as critical values. Test around them. Notice, not just 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Would 4.5 make that equation, or the inequality, true? Is that less than 4 units away from 3? So you see how all of this would make the inequality true? So this strategy, as we're going to wrap up, this strategy of setting an inequality equal, making it into an equation first, still works with absolute value inequalities. it is much easier and much more powerful to solve the inequality as an equation and then test around what are known as critical values. We'll get plenty of practice with that tomorrow. Before we wrap up, I do want to go ahead and give you your review for the test. Don't forget, the lesson 20 stuff is due on Thursday, which is when we are going to be testing. I don't know if it was this class or another class that asked if I could make something different color so it's easier to find. I decided homework/reviews, I will make a different color so that you can find those more easily and put those in between your lessons. So hopefully that helps. I would work through as much of this review before you come to class tomorrow as possible so that you can ask questions as we review for the test. We will not do much with absolute value inequalities, but we will do a little bit tomorrow.